The O'Reilly Factor, the #1 cable news show for 12 years running.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly, and here's a legal segment tonight. Two very important stories. 70-year-old Florida teenager shot to death by a neighborhood watch guy, and now the feds are getting involved. But first, who is Army Staff Sergeant Robert Bales, and why did he murder 16 Afghan civilians? At least he's being accused of that. Here now, attorneys and Fox News analyst Kimberly Guilfoyle, at least will. So you know the lawyer representing Bales, right? You worked with him down a long time ago. We now know that Bales has had a number of run-ins with the authorities and did some kind of bankruptcy situation?
Yeah, 4 run-ins with authorities since 2000. The first one was a bankruptcy situation. Well, it was a bankruptcy situation. It was a fraud situation. He was representing somebody as a stockbroker, an older gentleman, and he defrauded this gentleman.
Allegedly, or did he do it?
No, an arbitrator decided that he did and awarded the guy, who says he's not received a penny from Bales, $1.4 million from Bales and the company that Bales was working with. Okay, so that's the civil beat. Then in 2002, he assaulted a girlfriend, not the woman he's married to now, but he assaulted a girlfriend. That case was dismissed, but only after he took 20 hours of anger management. So.
Okay.
Then there were 2 driving violations. One was a hit and run, and that charge was dismissed as well. And another was a drunk driving, and that charge was dismissed. So when you look at his rap sheet, there's really nothing on there that shows a charge that was already followed through with a conviction, other than the assault.
No, but it's not a great resume, let's put it that way, all right? Because he was portrayed initially, Guilfoyle, as you probably know, as a solid, upstanding guy, and how could this possibly happen? We're all shocked. But then when you look into it, and we're not trying to convict anybody on television here, but this is a very disturbing situation. Now, it seems to me that his attorney, Bales' attorney, is going to say, look, the guy had diminished capacity, he had 4 tours, and he was, post-traumatic stress, whatever it may be. That's all he's got, right?
Well, but that's what perhaps the evidence may show, and he has an obligation to put that defense forward. It is available in a military court and tribunal. So he'll say that at the time this happened, this is an individual who had repeated deployments, did not want to go back to Afghanistan.
Do we know that as a fact? He didn't want to go to Afghanistan? Because I think he was in Iraq 3 times, and this was his first Afghan tour.
Afghanistan, correct. So he didn't want to be deployed again. He was actually seeking, his wife had applied with him to move to a different military base, perhaps Germany. Italy did not want to go back to the Middle East. He did suffer a traumatic brain injury in an IED explosion, and he did lose part of his foot during that time, and there's some evidence to suggest
So they sent him to Afghanistan with partial brain injury and his foot had partial?
Well, it depends on, he did pass the military fitness test to be deployed.
Right. So that's the defense, right? Okay, and I don't want to do any more on it because it's not fair. Let the defense do what they do. You're absolutely right. He's entitled to his defense, and we'll see. All right, now in Florida, they have a very strange law, Guilfoyle, about carrying guns and using the weapons. Explain that briefly.
Yeah, this is basically a law where it's called the Stand Your Ground Law. And if you're an individual out in a public place and you feel that you could be subjected to death or great bodily injury, essentially some kind of felonious assault, you do not have a duty to retreat. You can stand your ground and defend yourself
with a gun.
Yes.
That you're licensed to carry,
right? Use deadly force if necessary, and that's what the allegation is.
You have to be licensed to carry, though, right?
Well, otherwise you'd face a violation for carrying an illegal weapon.
And in Florida you can carry fairly easily. It's not a hard state of that. All right, so you're carrying, somebody comes at you, threatening, you can use the weapon to protect yourself. Now, a guy named George Zimmerman, who is a kind of a neighborhood watch guy, he takes advantage of this law. And here's the 911 tape. Go.
This guy looks like he's up to no good, or he's on drugs or something. It's raining and he's just walking around looking about. He's got his hand in his waistband. Something's wrong with him. Yeah, he's coming to check me out. He's got something in his hand.
So you think he's yelling help?
Yes.
All right, what is your
There's gunshots.
You just heard gunshots?
All right, and the 17-year-old boy gets killed. He shoots him, right?
Right. And to be clear, in the state of Florida, along with 17 other states, there is a stand your ground law, but that doesn't mean, it means you don't have to retreat.
Okay, but let's stay on the facts of the case. Was Trayvon Martin carrying a gun?
No, of course I was carrying a bunch of Skittles.
Easy.
I'm sorry.
Was he carrying any weapon?
No.
He had no weapons at all?
No.
He had candy?
candy
Okay.
and an iced tea.
Did he have a record? Had he ever done anything wrong?
No, not that we know of.
Okay. So he's clean, totally, 100%.
He's suspended from school. We don't know why, but we don't think it's
So
a
he's
criminal
suspended
record.
school-
Not for conduct,
No.
no. It was just a,
For some
whatever,
reason.
right.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, the second part of the 911 call was a neighbor who was observing this, okay?
Right.
And the neighbor felt that there was trouble brewing. Has that been any other evidence there from the neighbor?
Okay. No, what you have is just people saying what they heard at the time, but there's key evidence that could come into both this criminal investigation and a civil wrongful death lawsuit if it is brought. Keep in mind there are two joint
Okay, but
investigations,
right now, on the
DOJ
record,
and FBI.
on the record, what we have, and I got to run here.
We have a
is-
girlfriend
We have a
called, though, Bill.
girlfriend
It's very
today. It's
important
very- yeah.
that heard that the boy was saying that he was afraid, essentially, that
victim.
somebody was coming up to him, Trayvon Martin, and said, this
Okay.
guy's staring
But
at
there's
me.
no
run.
evidence that Trayvon Martin, 17, was doing anything wrong at all.
None.
None. Okay?
Not at all.
Okay, that's what we wanted to establish. Now, the feds are involved because the state of Florida has not charged him. County has not charged him. So the feds are getting involved for the civil rights beef. And we hope that justice is done.
Yeah.
Absolutely, ladies. Right back with Charles.